Chapter 14, Gratitude. Mere minutes after your meeting with the captain, Theo guides you across the deck, his smile inviting. Where exactly are you taking me for this thank you surprise? If I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise. Now close your eyes and no peeking. Laughing, you close your eyes. The world goes dark. You're all more aware of the pressure of his hand as he leads you onward. We're going down some stairs up ahead. Actually, a lot of stairs. And you want me to walk down them all with my eyes shut? Only if you trust me. His hand is warm and sure around your own. Despite your lack of sight, you feel perfectly safe. I do. Then follow me. Further you descend, the more intrigued you become, and more aware of his touch. He sometimes slips a hand around your waist to steady you after one set of stairs, the contact lingering before he guides you to the next. We have to be on the lower decks by now. Could we be going to his quarters? You walk down a hallway now, then through a door. There's chatter nearby as his strong hands guide you into a waiting chair. Okay, open your eyes. Blinking at the sudden light, you peer around and recognize the kitchen beside the third-class mess hall. I knew we must be near the mess hall. I just hope you don't expect me to cook unless you're in the mood for burnt toast. Every time you've been here, this place is bustling with staff cooking and passengers either getting meals or celebrating. But this afternoon it's quiet. One cook is mixing something across the room and he barely gives Theo a nod as Theo slips behind the counter. One of the cooks owes me a favor, so I'm sure he won't mind if I borrow his workstation and whip something up as part of his thank you. Your heart swells with affection as Theo reaches for a cutting board and begins dicing some vegetables. He works quickly, clearing just at the home and kitchen as he's everywhere else, and the confident movement of his hands is enticing. This is very sweet. In what feels like moments, he has sauce simmering in a nearby pot. But it's also unnecessary. You really don't owe me anything. Grins, dipping a wooden spoon in the simmering pot. At least taste the sauce before you say that. Carefully, he lifts a spoonful of the savory sauce to your lips. Flavors burst across your tongue. A bright zing with a hint of spice. Wow, that's delicious. How's the seasoning? It tastes so perfect, I could kiss you. Needs more of your spice. You know what? I'm gonna do it. At the flirtatious tone in your voice, his gaze darkens. You think so? What can I say? I like a little heat. Grasping the front of his shirt, you pull him close, capturing his mouth in a passionate kiss. So do I. As Theo mixes some more ingredients in the simmering pot, you sniff the air appreciatively. Whatever you're cooking, it smells incredible. It's a Greek stew. Beef stifado. I grew up in a little town called Stonington in Maine, but my parents brought this recipe with them when they immigrated to the States. I can't wait to try it. As he continues to prepare the meal, you sit back in your chair, happily watching his every movement. You seem very comfortable in the kitchen. Most of the men I know have servants to cook for them, and those without any wouldn't know how to make more than a sandwich without their wives or mothers to feed them. Theo shrugs, laughing a little. Well, once I was tall enough to reach the stove, my mother wanted me to know how to put meals on the table for myself. She was a good teacher. I like working with my hands, and, well... He gestures around himself at the cooking implements spread across the counter. Here we are. It's nothing impressive once you get the hang of it. It is to me. I can imagine you cooking dinner for just the two of us somewhere more domestic, maybe in a little house by the ocean. I like the sound of that, especially since, with all due respect, I'm not sure if a rich girl like you knows how to cook. only supervised a meal here or there, but I've never had to prepare one. Well, now's as good a time as any to learn. I could use your help with the last dish I'm preparing if you're up for it. Of course. As you join Theo at the counter, he hands you a knife, covering your hand with his own. We'll need to slice some of the crystallized ginger. He demonstrates slicing a brisk, confident stroke through one of the ginger segments. You press closer to him, reveling in the warmth of his touch as he guides you through cutting the root. How's this? Perfect. Now let me show you how to make a custard. You help Theo measure out the sugar and milk. Soon the beginnings of your custard are simmering on the stove. There's an endearing focus in his eyes as he works, and a soft furrow on his brow that you long to reach out and soothe away. Now, we just let everything come together, and whisk. Whisk constantly. He twirls the whisk through the silky liquid with an easy flick of his wrist, which is more than a little distracting. But you force your attention back to the task at hand as he passes the whisk to you. Go on, give it a try. I'll whisk. You steady the pot's handle and imitate the twirling motion Theo made, trying to keep the liquid moving. I'm whisking and nothing's happening. Some good things take patience, Violet. He swipes a finger through some leftover custard mix in a bowl and licks it clean, giving you a deliberate wink. You shiver a little as he pulls his hand away, his finger glistening. There, it's setting. Take it off the heat. With the custard done, he turns away to assemble the last ingredients. No peeking over my shoulder. I want this part to be a surprise, too. I'll wash the dishes, then. Also a first, but I think I've grasped the general concept. As you dip your hands into the sink full of soapy water, Theo glances over his shoulder to smile at you, pleasantly surprised. We make a good team, don't we? We do. As he puts the finishing touches on both dishes, you find yourself struck by how comfortable it all feels. The warmth of his hand on yours, his easy smile, the way he makes your pulse race every time he looks at you. I know it's impossible, but if we could live together after the voyage, I wonder what our life would look like. What Theo would want it to look like. You turn to Theo, smile playing on the corners of your lips. What do you think it would be like to cook together in our own home? If we could live together, I mean. He pauses, and for a moment you worry that the fantasy is presuming too much, but then he smiles back at you, his eyes sparkling. I think it would be better than this. Although if we're going to fantasize, we might as well be cooking in our dream home. And what does the dream home look like, then? He grins, letting his arms around your waist. You bask in the comfort of his warm, solid presence. And in the heat of his lips, as he whispers teasingly in your ear, pretty sure I can picture your dream house. Silk sheets on every bed, a bathtub big enough to swim in, not to mention the private elevator. You tilt your head to the side, pretending to consider his answer. It does sound luxurious, but I was picturing an elegant townhouse in London. A French chateau sounds nice, but townhouse in London. I'm gonna go with French chateau. As you say the words, the idea feels so real you can almost touch it. We'd prepare French croissants together every morning, then stroll through the manicured gardens hand in hand, tossing our crumbs to the ducks. We'd have ducks? Of course, they'd live in our moat. He laughs, slightly brushing your waist with his hand. The heat from his fingers sends tendrils of warmth spiraling through your body in response. And just how big is this chateau of ours, anyway? Big enough to give us plenty of time to ourselves. But that's just my idea. What about your dream home, Theo? He places a baking dish into the nearest oven, then runs his hand over his head, giving you a sheepish look. If I'm being honest, it's something way simpler. Yep, like a small log cabin out by some water. Maybe a pond. I've always pictured myself living in a small house by the sea. We could have a little porch overlooking the water. Yeah, I accept that. cozy kitchen of our own. A cozy sofa in front of a fireplace, a shelf heaped with all of your books. Theo, how about a spot for your fiddle? It could have its own shelf, and then you aren't too tired after a long day on the water. Perhaps you could play for me. I'd play for you every night if you asked. Anything to see you smile. Leaning forward, he presses a gentle kiss to your cheek. I could see us making breakfast together like this. Cozy in our own little house. I think you'd have most of it ready for before I woke up, though. You seem like an early riser. Yes, that's the habit. Not about to change, but it means I could always have a warm drink ready for you by the time you come down. And then we'd get ready to spend a romantic day out together. I'd pack a picnic basket for the two of us. I'd sneak in a bottle of wine. Stroll down to the seashore to watch the ships come in. I'd pick flowers for you along the way. We'd lay out a blanket, and Theo plasters an innocent expression onto his face, trying to hide the smile twitching at the corner of his lips. Take a nap? Eventually. You can feel the love surging through your veins as you look at Theo's excited expression. If only we weren't just imagining the future. It sounds like our lives are very busy. In the best way possible. And it's a good thing that holiday weekend is coming up. He slips an arm around your waist and leans in closer. What were our plans again? You swat on him playfully. Oh, I have to make the holiday plans. I can do the planning. I just want to take you wherever you most want to go. In that case, we'd stay in together. We'd shut the door and forget about the rest of the world. I'd build a cozy fire. In the summer. You're right. Grins roguishly, tracing one finger down the length of your arm. We don't need a fire to make our own heat. Theo's smile takes on a wicked curve, dropping his mouth to your bare neck. He traces a soft path of kisses down the side of it. Sounds like our days are spoken for. But what about our nights? His hands stroke subtly down your hips, leaving a trail of heat in their wake and derailing your thoughts entirely. Our nights? Mm-hmm. His voice drops even lower as he tilts his head up, lips brushing a sensitive spot just below your ear. How would we spend our time in the bedroom? We would be as loud as we wanted. Our cottage would be on the edge of town, far enough away that no one could hear us. You can picture it so clearly, Theo shutting the door to your bedroom behind him, hands already unfastening his buttons, and reaching for yours, laying you bare. The night to ourselves, we could indulge ourselves as much as we wanted. Theo's hands slip lower, his fingers skimming the curve of your inner thighs. Yes, softly grabbing the edge of the counter to steady yourself. I like the sound of that. He lowers his voice to a husky whisper, his teeth scraping the edge of your earlobe. You know how much I'd give to hear you screaming my name? Just then, the sound of the sizzling from the oven catches your attention. Damn, I should have probably get that. Yes, I'd wait for the fruits of our labors to get burned. He reluctantly pulls away, and as you watch him assemble all the food, covered with lids and linen cloth, your heart aches with fondness. I know it's only a fantasy, but I never knew two people from such different walks of life could fit perfectly together. Perhaps all we'd really need to truly be happy is each other. All right, everything's ready. Let me take you to our final stop. That's what true love is. You don't need everything. And you don't need to be same. Theo leads you back to the upper deck. Make sure there's no sign of Adele or any passengers you know. And then he leads you up to the familiar observation tower. I remember this place. You took me here the day we met, where we shared our first kiss. I'm glad I did. The sun starts slipping towards the horizon as Theo spreads a blanket for you to sit on and lays out the food he's made for you. Give it a taste. It's still nice and warm. Take a bite. God, that looks good. I am now hungry as hell. The rich, savory flavors of beef and hearty vegetables burst across your tongue, and before you know it, you're taking another bite. That's so cozy, like a hug in a bowl. He looks equal parts relieved and pleased as he tucks into his portion beside you. Glad I haven't lost my touch. I don't get to cook a lot these days working in the boiler room. Well, if the mess hall is ever short on cooks, you should show them a thing or two. He laughs and you're suddenly struck by the freedom you feel sharing a meal beside him where no one else can see or judge. Don't forget to try our pastry too. Iced ginger roll, break off a piece. It's wonderful. This whole afternoon has been wonderful. It's not over just yet. Theo sets his food aside and reaches over into one pocket. He pulls out a silver locket glittering in the light of the setting sun. There's something inside. You open it to see both of your initials engraved side by side. A wave of affection launches through you, your eyes suddenly blurring with tears. Oh, Theo, it's beautiful. I've never seen anything more lovely. Considering how many necklaces I bet you own, I'm flattered. Will you help me fasten it? Of course. Reaching over to take the locket, he fastens the clasp carefully around your neck. His fingers brush against your bare skin as he does, making you shiver with wordless longing. I didn't just want to thank you for that conversation with Captain Violet. I wanted to thank you for believing in me. Most people laugh at the idea of a stoker who wants to be a captain, especially with one with only a few dollars to his name. But you never did. I've always thought everyone deserves a shot at their dreams, no matter who you are or where you come from. And you're the first person to really treat me like I deserved one too. Of course I did. You deserve the world. You deserve everything your heart could possibly desire. The look he gives you, equal parts tender and scorching, makes your cheeks warm. I want all your dreams to come true, Theo. If only mine could. This day with him has been a glimpse into a happier future. Nothing like the kind of life I'd have with Philippe. A cold, loveless marriage. Year after year of dreariness. But a life with Theo. Wistfulness and hope and desire swirl in your chest. Caught up in the moment, you lean forward, pressing a kiss to his lips. He responds instantly, his hands reaching up to cradle your face as he kisses you back just as urgently. Any worries about Philippe or the passengers milling on the deck below fall away as you lean in, kissing down his neck. Violet. The salty, sweet taste of his skin is utterly intoxicating and leaves you hungry for more. He groans, capturing your mouth in another searing kiss. His tongue slips into your mouth, coaxing and teasing in equal measure. By the time he pulls away, your pulse is pounding. You can already feel liquid desire pooling between your thighs. You know. He pauses just long enough to kiss you again as his hands find the curve of your hips, massaging a tantalizing pattern through your dress. I can think of one other way to thank you that I haven't gotten to just yet. Especially after how much you helped me relax earlier. His meaning is unmistakable, and your whole body thrills at the idea of his hands on your bare skin, despite how exposed you both are. Here, we're practically in public. His reply makes you shiver with anticipation as his hands slide a little further down your hips. Don't worry, up here no one can see us. We will go for as long as we can because remember YouTube. Oh, I plan to. Despite the passengers just a few dozen feet below you, you feel as though you and Theo are in your own private world. Between the noise of the ship and the wind, no one can hear or see you as you kiss him again, pulling him closer by his suspenders, and to your surprise, Theo pulls away, a wicked smile curving slowly across his lips. But where should I start? If I'm going to thank you, I want to be thorough. The heat from his gaze washes any lingering inhibitions away. Lift my wrist to his lips. How about this? His eyes darken with lust as you lift your hand towards him, exposing the bare skin of your wrist. He reaches out to take your hand in his, despite the chill in the air. His fingers are warm and sure against your pulse point. You can have anything you want. Shiver with anticipation for one long moment until he drops his mouth to your wrist, his lips barely grazing your skin. Oh. Your breath catches as Theo hungrily draws his tongue across your wrist, leaving a trail of heat in his wake. You reach out, tangling your fingers in the fabric of his shirt as you pull him close. There's an edge to your kiss that wasn't there before, a desperate need that pulls at you both. You feel good. His voice drops lower as he kisses you again, his hands sliding down to cup your breast. You've done so much for me. His thumbs work slow patterns through the fabric of your dress, each touch sending a rush of molten pleasure through your veins. You mean so much to me. I want you to enjoy every moment of this. He nips at your lower lip as his fingers tease you, and the combined sensation you can't help but cry out. Your gasp tumbles out louder than you intended, but there are no curious cries from the deck below. As exposed as you feel, even more exposed, and when you touch each other at the theater, there's a delicious excitement to it. Being together has always been a risk, but why not enjoy it? Reach for the buttons of his shirt, but he shakes his head, gently pressing you back against the blanket. Not right now. This is about you. He bends low, brushing a soft kiss against the hollow of your throat. Lazily, he draws his tongue lower and lower down your body, kisses settling lightly through the fabric of your dress. Instinctively, you reach out, guiding him towards the stiff peaks of your breast, already aching with want. Kiss me here. Theo's all too happy to obey. He unfastens your clothing just enough to expose the thin material of your brassiere, but without even stopping to push that aside, his mouth fastens over you. You arch wantonly upward as he tugs gently with his teeth, making you moan and twist in pleasure beneath him. God, I love the sounds you make. Slowly, he moves lower, pushing your dress above your waist as he settles between your thighs. How ready you get for me. We did the bang chigga wow wow. So, utterly spent, you collapse against Theo, reveling in the heat of his body as your heartbeat finally slows. It may only be a few seconds, but it feels like several long, leisurely minutes before you can bring your limbs to move again. That was... He arches an eyebrow to his chest, still rising and falling with exertion, as he gives you a warm smile. Good enough, thank you. I didn't know gratitude could feel so good. One of his hands slides down between your bodies, giving you one more slow, teasing stroke. I know, but I can be pretty determined when things call for it. And I would have stayed up here however long it took you to get some release. Your dedication is... very appreciated. And thank you, Theo. This has been unforgettable. You're unforgettable. He reaches up to brush a thumb over your cheek, smiling. I'm just glad I could make you feel a little of what you make me feel every day. After one final kiss, he helps you straighten your clothing, and you both climb down from the observation tower. But as he begins to escort you towards your quarters, you suddenly spy a familiar face across the deck. Where the devil? It's Philippe. He can't see us together. On it. Theo jumps overboard. No, I'm kidding. As Philippe turns, Theo just manages to duck behind a nearby lifeboat, hiding himself from view, but Philippe catches sight of you. Violet, there you are. He strides across the deck, his shoulders stiff, jaw clenched. What on earth are you doing out here by yourself? I am simply taking a walk. This may come as a surprise to you, but sometimes grown women like to go on strolls on their own. Yes, you seem especially fond of doing so, all too fond. Don't think that I haven't noticed how flighty you've been lately. Slipping out early, half the times we see each other, almost never in your suite when I come to call. I had no idea you came to see. It's as though you've been doing whatever you please around this ship. And what exactly is wrong with that? I'm allowed to do what I please. And let my reputation be endangered by your increasingly questionable judgment? I think not. Any woman courting a man my station must live up to certain standards, timelessness, proper comportment, and sensibility to start. That means no more running off to do whatever the hell it is you're doing. He takes a step closer, looming over you, but you square your shoulders and gaze up at him, refusing to take a step back. From now on, I expect you to be available and act properly in public, especially at tomorrow's gala. I don't take orders from you, Philippe. I am not your wife. Not yet, but I find it's best to set expectations early on in the relationship, help us avoid any unpleasant tantrums later. I think you'll find that the loyalty and attention is a small price to ask for all that my family and I can offer you. Good night, Violet. I'll see you at the gala, and I expect you to be punctual. The moment he turns to stride away, you glare daggers at his back, but the adrenaline quickly washes away, leaving you cold. If Philippe truly expects this of me, this may be the last perfect day I get to spend with... Theo, are you still there? You peek behind the lifeboat, but he's gone. He must not have wanted to risk Philippe seeing us together. I only hope he isn't starting to regret our arrangement. No, he probably heard everything and probably had to go punch a wall. I'm serious. After the next afternoon, as Adele is out running errands, you do your best to concentrate on the book in your hand. You're rereading the same page for the third time when a soft knock sounds on your door. You open it, heart beating quickly in your chest to find... Theo. Lauriette told me she was taking Adele out on some errands, so I came to see you as soon as I could. I'm sorry for disappearing on you yesterday with Philippe so close. If he saw anything, I knew you'd... I understand. I'm just glad you weren't having second thoughts. Never. But hearing you with Philippe gave me an idea. Called it. He lifts up one arm and you see a folded garment draped over it, gleaming with fine threads. Is that a three-piece suit? Yep. And it's going to get me into the gala with you. Without further ado, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down description, plenty of things to check out there, ways to support, and also consider the join and thank feature that is implemented on YouTube. Without further ado, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll just say mine now. You know, at first, I as always, right, I always try and give the person a chance, right? And Philippe, when he first was introduced, he was a gentleman, right? He was a halfway decent person. And so I tried to give him a chance, right? And ever so slowly, I get it, human nature and or Pixelberry's writing, they've turned him into a villain, right? What else is new? Not everyone was like that back then. Cue Theo, but also other people of wealth, right? We ourselves are completely different than whatever other woman so far is portrayed in the story, correct? So yeah, I just, you know, I don't know. There's always a villain. There's always, I don't know, you know, what is it called? Star-crossed lovers or some shit. Imagine if, you know, you were given two possible love interests, and each one offered a different world, or a different aspect, or a different personality, or whatnot, and you had to choose by the end of the book. Right? You know, something that, instead of turning one of them into a villain and being something that is something that needs to happen, that you only get one love interest, right? You could have more than one, right? it's something that, yeah, we see here and there in terms of like, a female love and an interest in a male interest, for instance, like, what's happening with the Untamable book. But um, I don't know. I get so tired of the villainous one and having to deal with the drama of that, and then the drama of we're already dealing enough with your family shit, right, and your sister and all that. Which, let me be honest, I'm pretty much I can agree with most of you, right? Most of us would toss it to the side, be like, you know what? It's not my fault that you guys squandered your wealth. It's not my fault. I'm not gonna literally and figuratively sell myself so you can literally be wealthy and happy and rich and all that while I'm sitting here in a loveless marriage. I think that's dumb, right? I think it really truly is. Life is so short. Your life is over in a blink of an eye compared to the existence of this planet, the existence of this galaxy, the whole nine yards, and just your life is worth spent being happy. That's it. That's it. That's all I'll say. Without further ado, thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.